So while you can tell from the sketch that the midpoint G is located at 2 and 7, we need to provide mathematical calculations to show this. So given that x1 is -3, y1 is 5, x2 is 7, y2 is 9, we'll use the midpoint formula. So the coordinates of G are x1 plus x2 over 2 and y1 plus y2 over 2. So now let's substitute in. So our values from above, we now have -3 plus 7 over 2 and 5 plus 9 over 2. So we'll evaluate. -3 plus 7 gives us 4, 5 plus 9 gives us 14. Dividing by 2, 4 over 2 is 2, 14 over 2 is 7, which is exactly what we see in our sketch. So you should notice that when we are finding the midpoint of a line segment, we are just finding the average of the x-coordinates and the average of the y-coordinates. So in this example, AB is a line segment with a midpoint of C. Determine the possible endpoints, the possible coordinates of the endpoints if the midpoint C is -7, 5. So to solve this problem, let's first make a sketch to help us visualize it and label the sketch with the information we have. So we know that C is the midpoint at -7 and 5. Endpoints are A and B. We don't know their precise coordinates, so we'll use x1, y1 and x2, y2. So in this problem, we're given the midpoint and asked to find endpoints. So let's start by writing down the midpoint formula and recording the answer we know. So the formula, x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. Our answer for our midpoint is -7, 5. So we know that x1 plus x2 over 2 is equal to -7. y1 plus y2 over 2 is equal to -5. So we now have a formula for the x-coordinates and a formula for the y-coordinates. So first let's look at the x-coordinate of the midpoint. x1 plus x2 over 2 is -7. If we multiply both sides by 2, we get that x1 plus x2 is -14. So all we need are two numbers that add up to -14. As you might have already guessed, there are an infinite number of solutions to this problem. Let's just pick an arbitrary x1 and x2, so say -10 for x1 and -4 for x2. Now we can do the same with the y-coordinates. Multiply both sides by 2, so y1 plus y2 add up to 10. So again, picking arbitrary values, 9 and 1 add up to 10, so y1 is 9 and y2 is 1. So therefore, one possible pair of endpoints for the line segment are -10 and 9 and -4 and 1. This matches up to our x1, y1, -10, 9, and our x2, y2, -4 and 1. So just remember that there are an infinite number of different answers to this question. The only restriction for the answer are that the x-coordinates have an average of -7 and the y-coordinates have an average of 5. Let's look at a few facts before we carry on with some problems. The median is a line that joins one vertex of a triangle to the midpoint of the opposite side. So every triangle has 3 medians. The diameter is a line segment that goes from one point on a circle to another point on the circle and passes through the center. The radius is a line segment from the center of a circle to the point on the circle. The length of the radius is exactly half the length of the diameter. The center of the circle occurs at the midpoint of the diameter. These facts will help us with some problems that we will see later on. So in this example, the endpoints of the diameter of a circle are A at 0, 7 and B at 12, 3. We are asked to find the center of the circle, find the radius of the circle, and find the area of the circle.